think you're going to also be a fan of this next battleground that we have in game number 3 between Even and Death and Roll20.
Roll20 taking us to Tomb of the Spider Queen. No surprise considering it is one of their favorite maps, but the fact that it just shows raw confidence. We'll take Even and Death to their 3rd favorite map. Yep, we are just ready to play the video game. I love when teams do that. I wish we had more, actually. I feel like teams in North America that just kind of go like, we can beat you on this, you know? Just take them right where they go, rather than going this very relaxed and almost recited process of map priority for most teams in North America. Just being like, dude, we can beat you on your favorite map.
Any and every
Granted,
map.
this is like a little bit of an unfair one to be indicating that's what's being said, but you know what I mean? Like when Tempo and Galeforce go head-to-head and Tempo just picks Braxis, and they just lay it on the table and be like, let's go, boys. We've got that. Like, can you imagine? Either way,
pretty cool.
We're for now, before you get excited, we're on Tomb.
We are.
And it's about the minions, it's about the wave clear.
This is game 3 between Even and Death and Roll20. Roll20 just needs one more victory to have a nice, dominant 3-0. You know, there was a tweet that came up that was hopeful that Roll20 would just have a good, strong showing. And they're well on their way to doing that.
Yeah, Even and Death's well on their way to stopping any crazy strats. On top of that, with the Medivh ban coming out from them, so for the first time this series, we see some respect towards it. I got you. I got you. Hold on. Come here. Come here.
What is happening?
It's this craziness.
Oh, no.
It's wild. I saved it.
Thank you.
You were going to die. It was wrapped around. You were trapped like a monster.
I feel like there's some sort of like committed to the job and it's holding me here. So I can't.
No.
Stitches Tassadar once again for Roll20.
Oh, you know, nothing changing up here too much. Tass on a small map. The Genji to go over to Even in Death though. You know, Homicide will maybe get some flashy plays. All it takes is just one reset. You know,
To become a legend.
To become a legend. I just realized that's like one of those like general phrases you apply to competitive gaming, and it sounds like decent, but some of the ones where I feel like it doesn't as much as, you know, like the Michael Jordan, like missing every, I don't even know if it's him, but like I just assume every basketball quote's from Michael Jordan. And so it's like you miss every shot you didn't take, you know? And it's just like Genji misses every reset he didn't go for. But then I think about it, how many feeding Genjis exist in the world that go for way too many resets? It just doesn't translate as well as you think.
What about a double reset?
Double reset.
You miss every reset, you didn't double reset.
All the way across the sky. Love that guy.
Genji, Rhaegar, and Greymane. It's a dog-heavy composition for Even and Death. Roll20 banning a Nubarak. I'm so interested to hear about the Stitches and Tassadar. Because it's obvious that it's a pairing. Specifically of those two. Gorge and Force Wall have been the favored heroics. I don't know if it's something designed for this series particularly, that Roll20 just want to make sure that they can continually get picks, punish any positioning, or if it's something that they will continue with onward.
I don't know. As long as Tass has wave clear and he has shielding on a short cooldown, I'm going to be honest, Gilly, I think he will always find a place in the meta. And, you know, where he lands overall, I feel like the rest of all of the world is still trying to debate that. Currently, I don't actually know his direct placement. I feel like where we see that for Roll20, I mean, it is very apparent they have their own interpretation of it, and I don't even mind it. It's just to see the argument of why they're so good. Task makes sense of objective power, but then the Stitches as that one with it, that's where I go, you know, I don't actually know. Because you go, what are all the core things Stitches needs? And the only thing Tassadar provides is a little bit of help in survivability and a force wall a couple seconds after a hook.
What do they add to this? Stitches and Tassadar.
Let's get a little crazy here. Roll20 after the last game. He's got to be feeling confident. I mean, that's not crazy. Who wants double support Arthas? It's like I've seen this composition before, Gilly. What's the last pick gonna be?
Vala.
Yeah. Oh man. And then you could argue, well, Even in Death can deny the Vala, but then it's like, well, who are they gonna have in the front lines? I mean, they could technically and just run Genji as that kind of double support all in, or double excuse me, solo warrior triple backline all in and just having Genji kind of be flashy.
It's nice seeing Roll20 punish that Even and Death got their damage so early on by getting both of the warriors and even banning a new Barak. So they're very focused on the warrior pool, getting both of the ones that they wanted up in the front, again with the Stitches Arthas, but then leaving that hero. And even if for some reason Vala was taken, there are plenty of other options to get along with Ariel.
I hope Even in Death maybe tries something crazy. I don't know.
You know, Diablo's still up. We've seen a fair amount of Diablo here and there.
I just hope that they mix it up, you know. I think it's the biggest thing for Even in Death whenever I see them play. Diva variant, okay. You know, the variant, a little bit of a question mark with how little wave clear they have already, but not totally against it. And it removes any intent of, or I guess appeal of moving into either the Illidan or the Tracer in case Roll20 had any intention to go down those routes.
Is there any reason for getting something other than Vala here that you can see?
Other than Roll20 in North America has been surprisingly on task Tracer, even on small maps like Tomb of the Spider Queen, and especially into variants. Historically, they've done it 3 times, which makes me go, that could be it. They go with the Lunara instead, over the Vala. Lunara, higher movement speed in general, so I mean that's one thing. She doesn't have the Volt, the immediate dash out onto burst, but in the long run is a little bit better at kind of getting the kite around. She's definitely got more damage output than the Vala does. Vala is a little bit more situational too when it comes to her damage. She also is reliant, one thing we almost never talk about is she's reliant on her hatred to get max value out of her level 4. And Lunara just needs to throw a Q just on the ground, and suddenly her level 7 does as much damage, if not more, than your average frost shot. So I'm not surprised to see them go into the Lunara. They had already a slow, so I don't see major argument into that. But Lunara, for me, like it is a better version of Vala, as if you're going for the single target burst, and they have a Stitches, so.
Well, there are a lot of slows, and again, slows add to Lunara's damage that she can have because of her talent, Unfair Advantage at 13.
Yeah.
Just about everybody has them, except Ariel. Ariel will have some blinds to try to slow things down for Even in Death, but Even in Death have 2 heroes with their own protection. So it must have been a little bit of that, too, that Roll20 are seeing Lunara as a way of being able to put the consistent damage in, even if Vala wouldn't be able to, especially with Varian, because he can be tricky to work around. Ready for the game?
I'm ready for it.
Let's do it. Let's go into Tomb of the Spider Queen and see if Even in Death can get a victory off of Roll20 or if Roll20 will close things out.
I was just trying to figure out if I saw anything on the side of this draft for Even in Death that is like a major redeeming quality, because I feel like Roll20 just drafted the exact same thing twice in a row. And so it's kind of just like, well, what is Even in Death going to do to change the outcome of the last game? Really, their laning matchup is equally wonky, if not more wonky, because last game they had options to be a bit more consistent and volunteered out of it. And this one, they just don't even have that option in the first place. They have a Diva at least to kind of wear Stitches hooks for free.
Some interesting change on the Diva, since you bring her up. Frozen X will be playing her this time. Battery playing the Varian. Battery was the Diva player last time, but it is very likely that it's just dependent on who the other warrior is they draft along with her.
Lions Maw at 1. Is this it? Is this the game?
Maybe.
I mean, think about it. Last game we almost had a Hinterlands Blast and Ravenous Spirit.
You say we almost did.
We almost did. That's not how that works. If I say it, it's not law.
I don't know how much of that was wishful thinking, but I can appreciate it.
I mean, this is going to be the X-Strike Colossus Smash game, correct? Okay, let's break down. Is there any argument into moving into Colossus Smash this game? Can you see one? Or no, you 100% have to go to the taunt?
Well, it's just like when I think about Colossus Smash, I think, okay, where you're looking for the single target vulnerability blow up, and you already have Cursed Bullet. So wouldn't you just want Taunt to lock them down and then Cursed Bullet to kill them?
Every time we have the double support strategy, everybody's worried about saving the backline. Everybody's worried about that Dryad back there putting poison everywhere. They're like, that's giving Ariel the hope. We gotta deal with that. But if you go Colossus Smash, Cursed Bullet, you just go, Arthas, you and me, boy. Let's take it, you know?
Except it's not just you and me, it's you, me, and Greymane.
Yeah, well, you're right. Okay, didn't think about that part.
A lot wrong.
Got the punishment, you know, and on the hero I was talking about. Lunara caught out there. Nice punishment now. Homicidal. Affliction on the Genji. Or, excuse me, Lutano on the Genji there. You just pressure up this front wall for free. This is a bit of the opposite of what I expected to see this early on. And Buds body blocked on out.
Yeah, that was brave to go up there against the members of Even in Death. Maybe a little too brave. Even in Death showing that they have the capacity to punish.
They've got the 4 talents here. Nobody making any adjustments. It's still the parry, so we're
you can't give that up. You just can't give up shield wall. But that is not, again, necessarily indicative of any heroic.
No, it isn't. Which means our dream's still alive. This game is equal probability.
Don't loop me into this.
Oh, you're trapped. This game was equal probability Colossus Smash before it started as it is now, and I'm going to say that's a win. That's a victory at the end of the day. How?
That is a good victory, too. Dodging the hook, going through the tunnel. How makes it out, saving his gems. Roll20 now has my favorite level 1, Eternal Hunger. Again, we see this being picked occasionally, but also Icy Talons. This is the auto attack dream.
It is the auto attack dream.
I'm so ready.
Roll20's been busting it out left and right. How got the detainment strike from Buds. Good dodge on the hook for Homicidal. And I like this rotation here for Roll20. They are just dominating the laning phase of this game with their 3-2 split. I don't know where this is going to really stop, honestly. The wave clear is not good enough in Even in Death's favor. Rhaegar is off on his own for 2 waves straight, and typically when your support is the one being the representative supporting the lane by itself, it means you're already getting absolutely bodied in terms of the laning positioning.
Well, Even in Death, once they get to 10, can hope to try to turn things around before they get too far behind. They're keeping up in experience better than either of the other 2 games, I think. Definitely the first game, Sky Temple. Yeah, if they lose the first turn, and they are going to lose some, though, because of how pushed up the lanes are already, how low the towers are getting in ammo. But they're doing their best to make sure that they stay caught up in experience with Roll20 this time around.
Roll20, when do they decide to strike with the gems, though? Because one thing we do have an option for in this game, that we don't always on a map like Tomb, I feel like after yesterday's games and watching No Tomorrow struggle to identify how they can actually win the game. They knew how to get the lead, but how to win it. When I'm Roll20, I would like to see them flex a little bit and actually very blatantly take the objective with a time intended behind it, a power spike, something, to be a bit more purposeful with these gems. And I feel like this stalling out here, you know, 8 turned in, that's fine. Now they don't have all of them, and then anybody can turn in those 3. Wait for the spike that you would desire, and then siege up. They are obviously not feeling the same way. They convert the Web Weaver up on top, or at least they feel like 7 is a far enough spike. Yeah,
it still is later than No Tomorrow had. There you can see the power of slows, like the poisons, even through the protects. The fact that Lunara is able to slow things down and hopefully keep Varian out. So once he gets through his stacks of parry, then they can still get the kill from that. And that only gets scarier because, again, there is a root from Arthas, there's hooks from Justing, and at 10 there will be the Force Wall. Here comes the mech, dropping down. Tainment Strike throws it away.
Still hit the Web Weaver, though. Worth. Nice Attainment Strike for Buzz, saving the team. Bottom Web Weaver is doing work. Top Web Weaver is now just being intended to for Even in Death, so bottom is just letting open for free. Roll20 is just committing as a 5-man faster to objectives than Even in Death by far, and they did it in the last game. It looks like they're willing to do it in this one. I want to know if this is going to exist past Even in Death, though, because though I respect this, I mean, this is essentially what I asked for, opening up the map, pushing things faster, quicker than I ever expected. I also wonder if Roll20's given a little bit too much with these 5-man commitments, and if a better team would punish them harder.
They're still a ways out from being able to get the second turn in along with this 10, so
like this,
instead they are marching to the boss.
Gilly, we just had this conversation.
No Tomorrow did the same thing. They were able to goaltend. They punished their opponent's ability or worry about trying to turn in, but even in Death, they're still hoping that they can get the turn in now. If Homicidal gets these gems in, there's a hook.
Another delay. Adjusting's fine. Homicidal, 3rd time's a charm. Except when you just cancel it yourself.
Fear. The fear was real. All right, even in Death got the Giants in bottom, but they did not get their turn in. Heroic abilities now available for Roll20. Leaping Strike for Lunara. I feel like as the solo main damage dealer there, you're solo ranged. That will be big to be able to have that jump from that, as well as the mobility that it gives Lunara.
I'm just watching this boss and hoping it takes out this fort. Gilly needs to take out this fort.
55 gems now available for Roll20. They can get their next turn in. All before Even in Death gets heroics.
They get it. They're going to get a turn in here. The fort eventually will fall with the web weavers, but not to the boss.
Just like yesterday, we need to see Roll20 get aggressive, make these gems matter, because this is it, turn-in-wise, for a long while.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's not as drastic as, you know, against No Tomorrow, but it's surprisingly close for how that game played out. So now the boss has been taken already, so when this dies and the web weavers die, they go, now we have nothing. And again, it's just a lot of it comes down to what they're willing to pressure out. I'm so sad because the last game they showed it, you know? We didn't see the last game, but again, I was like, well, there is no boss on this map, so what else are they going to do? But they do pressure out through mid. The top web weaver is still yet to be dealt with here. And naturally, Roll20 is going to get a lot out of this because of the compositional advantage that they have, but now they're also catching them in rotations on top of it.
Yeah, battery will go down here. There's only so many parry stacks, and there are just all the body blocks in the world, especially with Force Wall. But I regret to inform you that it was indeed a taunt.
I know, I was going to say that's the biggest, like, that's the saddest thing about this game, though, you know? Screw the boss, screw the play of Roll20 with their 10 power spike. Mainly the fact that this is taunt on the side of Even Death.
But bunny hop, that's
yeah, we got some
neat.
bunny hop. The audio cue for that, the little it's really dope. Hey, I think you did a better version than me by far. That was good.
I may have played my fair amount of Diva. There it goes. Taunt to hold down Buds. Goodbye, Ariel.
See ya, nerd. And now Goku is going to go down here. And then get any more picks. Frozen X
bunny hop.
We just bobbed our heads the whole time that was happening. Just
we wanted to make sure you guys got to hear it too.
It's good. And now what else is good is the fact that even Death can force a turn in here on near the same talent here. Have I ever told you how much I love and hate Tomb and Spider-Coin?
There's a taunt to keep Justin here so that he can't go in with the Gorge. Homicidal stays alive. Frozen X losing the mech, but is A-okay to back off. Even in Death have been able to get kills enough to try to stabilize. That Force Wall was pretty good though. Ancestral.
That Ancestral, the only reason I feel like you pop the Ancestral there is if you're going to turn, because now that's 100 seconds. It's the same length as Void, and you can't win a team fight without it, right? So if you're going to Ancestral that, you either sack the Varian, he dies, there's no way it's longer than 100 seconds, or you just keep the, or you burn the Ancestral and turn 100%. So a cooldown now that I expect Roll20 to be able to punish. I would say that with confidence, if they had enough gems to do anything or a boss was up, but they can't. They find themselves in a common situation on a map like Tomb, and this is exactly what I was talking about when I wanted to see them take it with a purpose.
You can clearly see why Roll20 drafted the Lunara over Vala that we are considering as well, and that is battery is having a time versus the composition of Roll20. Between the Force Walls that are available very often, that's an extremely short cooldown, as well as the slows that Lunara can still apply. He is having a horrible time of trying to get away, but making it work, being able to engage. When he's ready to go in, they get the kill. They take out Tassadar. Even in Death's hanging into this game. They haven't gotten their first turn in yet. They're holding on to 104 gems. But they're going to push down this wall here in the top, then make the rotation to the turn-in point. Should be the first blue web weavers of the game.
Okay, so now this is a window for Even in Death, and it's still a long ways to go. The second turn-in is the one where they gain the lead. The first turn-in is the one where they stop the bleeding. So it's really going to be how effective they prep the secondary turn-in more than it is about what they get done in this Web Weaver. And what that means is a lot of focus on the bottom lane is what I would have enjoyed from them. They can't do that because the bottom Web Weaver it wasn't enabled enough. They didn't baby the lane and wear the minions too far out. Mid's a free clear, which means top is the only lane we can expect an effective push for Even in Death, unless that happens.
Bunny Hop behind Goku. Crystal Aegis has to be used. Frozen X drops out of Bunny Hop with the self-destruct. Goku trying to get away. Gets hit, but still alive. He's still living.
This is really good for Even in Death. They don't even want the fight. They just want to keep him busy. Ancestral use, I don't mind it here. Just mainly, oh, but I gotta mind that. Losing, you know, a member there through the Gorge, especially your support, is not very good. How down, and now more are going to fall as the poison of Glaurung does absolute work.
The force walls this game, really force walls all series long for Roll20 have been something that Even in Death have struggled to deal with. So frustrating, the cooldown is really low, and now you've got the double Psionic Echo, so you've got the 2 Psy Storms to give Tassadar more damage. 16 Power Spike online available. Will of Heaven to give attack speed bonus to Glaurung. And things are getting worse. They're getting rougher for Even in Death in this game.
Roll20 will be able to eventually get this. The poison now is going to be enough. Nice force wall. Lutano questioning if he wants to move up. You feel that he really wants to, but it's just whether or not they can without the 16. Glaurung even trying to get a bit flashy with it. Moving up into their face, not afraid of that variant with taunt. And Arthas, meanwhile, has just been off, doing his own thing on an island.
Finally, Roll20 have enough to get their 3rd turn in after a dry spell of Web Weavers for them.
They're going to be able to start the boss on top of that if they would like. Glaurung's going to force this turn in. Bunny Hop's drop. They want to try and take the fight pre-16. Frozen X showing some confidence here. He's going to have a huge mecha if he's going to have a shot, and they get none. Gorge on top of the Dragon Blade for the Genji Gilly. Things might not work out for Even in Death.
Nope, there comes a Leaping Strike once again to take down Hao. So Rhaegar is gone, no support, no Ancestral. Crystal Aegis and the Force Wall, Homicidal and Battery both slowed and separated. Glaurung leaps over Varian to his doom, finds a Frozen X to take out in pilot mode. That was 55 gems dropped, but I think Even in Death is scared of more than just losing their gems.
Oh, look at Roll20 here, second guessing themselves when it comes to decision making. It looks like boss in turn-in, in fact, is going to be the final call, and the one that they should be able to end the game. Boss started. So, like, I feel like, oh man, this is one of those min-max situations. Somebody with enough gems should be backing out right now. There we go. And then they're going to find the ability. Because if you capture the boss and then you capture the Web Weavers are one of the slowest moving objects in the entire game. So capturing as you get the Web Weaver, it actually lines them up perfectly up to the keep area, which is where we see Glaurung wait. There it is. Rid of the minion wave. Team, please. Feels bad.
Boss captured. Web Weavers descending. And that top lane has no keep to stop Roll20.
No, they were looking to end it. Everything's ready to go. Everything's online. But Even in Death has 16. It's going to be a huge play necessary from Lutano if they're going to make the comeback.
Follow taunt. There's a self-destruct in the back, buying some time. The boss doesn't take damage from that, but the Web Weaver does. Glaurung has to be forced in, staying alive, still barely. Battery is pulled into the team. Bunny Hop on the backside, Even in Death, hoping that they can force the fight, get the kills, and they get one. They take out Stitches. They're going after Glaurung too, but now Lutano has been baited into a lot of Roll20. Rhaegar goes down. It's a 1-for-1 so far. Make that a 2 because Battery has fallen.
With Battery falling, nice Flasker's bullet attempt to turn things around. Glaurung leaping strike over top, howling blast from Goku. And now Roll20 will be able to claim the series theirs after game 3 on Tomb is complete.
Roll20 taking out Even in Death 3-0 is what they're aiming for.
Yeah.
Definitely. It was almost a must for them to feel like they have completely recovered, especially since they had started things out with a slump, losing to Gale Force Esports. But they recovered from that last weekend, and now this is more of a, okay, things are going as planned for us.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, really it felt like it was just one of those we expect, what I wanted out of Tempo and Roll20 to just come in, and especially out of our lower teams, just absolute dominance there, and it was nice to see that out of Roll20. Though we sit here and go like, well, that is expected, it's still a lot of the times we expect that from teams, we don't get it, you know? So it's still really nice to see that being fulfilled here by Roll20 and showing that they're that stable.
Now, what is your assessment of our new team, Even in Death? Because this is the third week for them in HGC. No series wins yet, but we knew that it was going to be a little while of time to be able to catch up to the caliber of teams that we have here in HGC.
Today was a little bit weird, actually. It felt like it was kind of uncharacteristic. There was 2 times in 2 different games where they made a choice that was very much kind of giving up, like it was the last moment, you know, and I don't totally hate that, seeing that being a thing, especially like if you're like, okay, guys, we just can't do this, and there's no reason to push it on if mentally the team is not ready to commit forward. But it happened in 2 different games at 2 different times, and now I'm wondering, is that just because it was Roll20 and accepting kind of the outcome that they found themselves in, or was it very much like a defeatist mentality that is going to translate to other games? And that is the one thing that scares me. It's the first like major negative that I've seen where it's like a unhealthy characteristic displayed just off of their play alone. I still sit optimistic for that group because of the small moments that they do have of what seems like brilliance, but I, for the first time, have an actual weakness that I look towards now when seeing them play after today.
Yeah, I feel the same about optimistic for them. When I was talking to Battery for the interview for this series, it did seem like there was maybe the most respect for Roll20, definitely on the higher end of respect for Roll20 as a team here in HGC because of their punishment and how well they can play together as a team. And Roll20 has demonstrated that they are making a lot of adjustments to get back to that point that they were at with Yoda at the mid-season brawl. Although it is a different Roll20, it feels like. It feels like they are changing a lot of their drafting habits. They are, especially with the Stitches task, so I'm really interested to talk to them about that. But it just seems like they're changing things to be the new version of Roll20.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Yeah, they kind of always have had their own flavor. Now it's just a little bit of a different one, right? But it's not weird. It's not okay to be like that isn't them because they've only been themselves for like that small window of time, and now they're just finding a new identity, a new role to fulfill. Before Medivh Diablo, now make it Task Stitches, who cares? Either way, they run it better than everyone else.
Well, let's talk to Glaurung, who was victorious over Even in Death. Hey Glau, congratulations. As expected to get a 3-0 victory?
Yeah, I'd say so. We played relatively clean. Game 1 was pretty messy, and then like we were not 100% sure what we were doing a couple times, but overall pretty clean set. So yeah, pretty clean set.
Nice. Well, congratulations on that. I'm sure you guys are really relieved to make sure that it was a clean set. My question for you is mainly about drafting, and I realize that you don't want to go too far into strategy, but it does seem like you guys have adjusted somewhat away from things that we knew you guys to really be a fan of. And now today we're playing more of Stitches and Tassadar specifically. So is this something that you had planned for this match specifically, or are these heroes that you deem to be really powerful together and that you want to continue in utilizing?
Today in draft, we really just wanted to draft what we thought was strong in the current meta, and a lot of teams are putting a lot of respect on comps we've shown prowess on in the past, like Tomb, for example. The Medivh ban set us up to be able to get Stitches and Tass on Tomb, which I think is really strong. So I think right now our game plan is trying to adjust to become a stronger meta team, because when we get what we want outside of the meta, like we're good enough at it, I'd say, but we need to get better at like our foundation and just get the regular building blocks in place.
Is it Stitches and Tassadar together that you guys see as really strong, or is it both of them separately and you just happen to be drafting them at the same time?
They have a lot of synergy together. Like Vision is good for hooks, and Vision forces the enemy to play even more scared than just having Stitches. But no, I'm not drafting it for any particular synergies aside from those.
Okay.
I just think they're both strong heroes on the maps that we played them.
Yeah, well, it worked out well for you guys again. Dred?
My question is just mainly if you could give us more insight towards, like from an audience perspective, when you are definitely a favorite team, like I feel like you were into this series, What is your guys' thought process? What do you look to gain? Obviously, you want to win, and you want to win as dominantly as possible, but do you come in with anything else that you look to gain? Like you were just hinting at testing some things meta-wise. Is there anything else?
For me personally, like this match, I just want us to build momentum going into the next couple weeks. So my mentality was I just want us to have a sort of clean series. Ever since the GFE set, we've still just been on the recovery. So I think today is pretty crucial in us developing that momentum. We saw it last split leading into mid-season brawl. Like, if we can develop momentum, I think we're a stronger team than otherwise.
Would you, with that statement, just curious to kind of add on to that, would you argue that you're weaker without the momentum? Just curious. Do you feel like the momentum is actually needed, or it's just a nice, cherry on top, if you will?
Not needed for sure, but definitely this team in particular thrives off of pressure. So, yeah, in an offline environment, I think we show our true potential, but we got to learn how to reflect that and show it in our offline play as well, or online play.
Thank you very much.
Well, Gloud, next Friday you guys are going up against Team Freedom, who has also been showing some quite dominant games. What are your thoughts on how that matchup will go for you guys?
I actually think Team Freedom is one of my dark horses for the split this season. I think they're a strong team. They've got a lot of good mechanical players. I think if they can figure out their style in the draft and what maps they prefer and sort of like branch away from their niche picks and sort of just practice meta, I think they're going to be a really strong team. So I think it'll be a good match between them. I think they're still too young of a team with their new roster, so I think we should be able to win that match, but those are my thoughts.
Great. Well, thank you very much for sharing those, and good luck in that match. Any shout-outs before you go?
Shout out to my team, and shout out to Roll20 for being a good sponsor, and shout out to you guys for doing the broadcast.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks, Gloud, for joining us. Congrats again.
Later.
I live for the shout-out.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're like secretly hopeful,
I'm just like, please say my name, please say my name,
there
please
you
say
go,
my name.
players.
Otherwise, there's no way I could be up there. I live for that pat on the back.
Throw Dread a bone when you come up here with your interviews.
No, it's awesome to be able to hear that from Glorong, especially, what is their mentality going forward? Because I really feel like that's to each their own type situation. Everybody wants to gain something, but what that is, I can see definitely the argument with momentum for a group of players like that. And he is right. We did see it in phase 1.
Yeah, especially with how they played together. They're so together that if anything's throwing them off, if even one person is feeling off, you could see how that would really affect a team like Roll20. I am so pumped for that series versus Team Freedom. It sucks we have to wait till next weekend, but the good news is we have more games tomorrow. First off, let's start with the standings of North America.